Now let's take a look at some of the campuses within the AICCU system. There's 85 campuses, as I've said, so there's lots to choose from. And it's important that you spend time narrowing these down to see if one of these campuses might be right for you. So let's take a look at some of the things that I've pulled out here for you. So as I've mentioned, a lot of these campuses are faith-based schools, and so it's important that you do that research to see if you don't follow that faith, if it would still be an environment that you would be comfortable in, and one that you could thrive in and do well. So for example, I have given Dominican as one of the schools here. So Dominican was started by the Dominican nuns, and so it has a Catholicism um, base to the campus. The Dominican nuns actually still live on campus. There's a convent right outside of the campus, and so you'll see them on campus. But they have a purpose and meaning graduation requirement. So you do not have to take a class in Catholicism, but you have to take a class in this purpose and meaning. So we're going to scroll down here to number 9. It's part of their general education, but as a transfer student, it's something that you would still need to complete. And so you can see just all the different types of options you have to meet this requirement. The first one is a dance and spiritual expression course, art and the sacred, life and death, religion and social theory. There's a Buddhism class, world's religion. So there's lots to choose from. And so it's just part of the curriculum that they want you to have completed. But again, it's not a specific course in Catholicism. USF is the same. Both USF and Dominican, I believe, have a service learning requirement to graduate as well. And then Loma Linda does give preference to students who are members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So anybody can apply, but they're going to give a slight advantage to somebody coming from the church. So that could be maybe extra points in the application or something like that. I have had students before who have come back. They've maybe left a school and come back to SRJC. One student in particular sticks out she refused to go to chapel. She was not interested. She did not want to go to chapel. And so she basically failed out of the school. And so it's something that you really need to take seriously and look at if you're considering one of these schools. As far as the art campuses go, one thing you really want to do is visit the campus to make sure that it's a good fit. And also sometimes with these art campuses, they're in the large cities. They're in San Francisco, they're in LA area, they're in San Diego. And so looking to see how they are set up. I know there's a couple arts campuses in San Francisco where, they're basically classrooms or buildings are kind of spread across, a certain area of the city. And so it's just something to take into consideration and to, start by watching their videos, doing their tours, and then taking a visit to see if it's a place, again, that you fit in. That's a really important piece of this process. And a lot of times you get to a campus and you get out of the car and you realize it's not a good fit. And so to make sure that you, again, are meeting that good fit for yourself, okay? And then, of course, we have the well-known schools. So we have Stanford and USC. Stanford does take transfer students. We just don't know a lot about what they want or who they take. We actually did have a student get in for this fall from SRJC, and we've had a few students transfer to Stanford over the years. But again, are they taking all community college transfer students, or is it a student from, say, Harvard that's coming back to California and has now been accepted to Stanford? So this is on Stanford's website, and it says Stanford accepts a small number of undergraduate transfer students each year. They have gotten better about giving more information on the requirements that they want, but their general education pattern is completely different than, say, the IGETC or the CSUGE. So typically what we do with students is set them up for like UC Berkeley, UCLA, and then, dig as far into Stanford as we can. They do have a transfer admission officer, but that person, you have to really dig to find their information. And so it's not impossible, and we're happy to help you in the transfer center through that process. And then the other school is University of Southern California. A lot of students think USC is part of the UC system, and it is not. It is a private campus. USC is actually very transfer friendly. In fact, they accepted about 24% of their transfer applicants. They had about 9,500 applications from transfer students, and they accepted about 2,300. So it's pretty good percentage, and they have a lot of information on their website about transfer students and information for transfer students. So I'm just going to scroll down here. You can see 50% of their transfer students are coming from California community colleges, and then they've listed out the other percentages there. And they actually have articulation, and SRJC is one of the lucky campuses to have articulation. So if you click here on their articulation agreement, you can also do this from the SRJC articulation website. It's on there as well. So we would select Northern California, and then Santa Rosa. We're one of 4 for Northern California. And then it lists out courses. So like for category A, you need 1 class in the arts. So if you were planning on applying to, let's say, UCs, then we would use the IGETC and pull classes that are on the IGETC that are also wanted for USC. So we do that work together so that you know, you're not taking double the coursework or things like that. So the more you know, the easier it is to plan for whichever pathway you're going to go. And then this last link here will take you to the AICCU website, and this has information on all of their campuses. So it's a little snapshot here. And then this is not the link, it's on the city for some reason. So if you click on the city, it will then take you to that campus's information on their website. Okay, so you can do research through that as well. All right, have fun looking at these campuses and seeing if there's any that you would be interested in applying to.